On a recent trip to Namibia, I had a chance to spend a few days out in the bush with a good friend of mine, Herod, and a couple of bushmen to accompany us as we hunted and safaried out through the Kalahari Desert. It struck me as I was there that these guys are some of the original bushcrafters. One day, as typical, we left the vehicle on a hunt and the day started getting long and soon we were out of water. At this point, the bushmen began to urge us that we follow them across a large salt flat that lay out in front of us. It looked to be almost a mile across the salt pan, so it was a bit unnerving considering we were nearing the midday temperatures. But the bushmen urged us to trust them, and we began to trudge across the salt flat. As we neared the other side, they started pointing to a prominent camelthorn tree.
We're deep in the Kalahari Desert. Yeah, we've just crossed the salt pan on the left. Our bushman friends has found an ostrich egg that they've buried here. They store water and then they mark the spot under a prominent camel thorn tree like this, and then it keeps the water cold and fresh. And the ostrich egg, they're gonna dig it up for us so we can have a drink. Thank you, Anton. Kill slang.
It was uncanny how the bushmen knew exactly where to dig. As they looked up at the branches in the tree and down at the ground, they quickly agreed upon the spot to begin digging, and they started digging into the sand with their hands. It was soon apparent that even their digging was a product of generations of practice. One bushman dug while the other one moved the sand out of the way, so the first one could continue digging the hole. And soon the top of the ostrich egg began to appear. I don't know how long that water in that ostrich egg had been in the ground, but it tasted amazingly refreshing and cool. As we walked away from the site, feeling a little bit more refreshed and energized, it struck me just how much there is to learn about survival from the people who have lived for hundreds of years before us off the land. I was hunting for a big oryx bull that day, and while ultimately I didn't find my bull that afternoon, I did the next day. Our bushman friends ultimately proved to be equally as adept hunting the harsh environment of the red sands of the Kalahari as they were surviving in it. And while we learned a lot from our bushman friends while we were there, I like to think that they learned a little something from us as well. Finally, at the end of the last afternoon, I compelled one of our bushman friends to take a drink from my Stanley water bottle. And by the smile on his face, I could tell he thought it was at least a slight improvement over his ostrich egg.